The problem is not that you're tired, it's that you go to sleep with your mind turned into a battlefield. The last thing you think about before closing your eyes is the first thing that directs your day upon waking, and that's where most people lose control without realizing it. You go to bed reviewing arguments, mistakes, messages you didn't answer, fears about the future, and you pretend to find peace amidst that noise. There's no possible peace like that. The mind needs order, it needs direction, and if you don't give it to it, it takes command. The Stoics knew this. The real character training begins when the day ends. Before going to sleep, they would stop to examine what they had done well, what they could improve, and what was not worth carrying until tomorrow. This nightly ritual was not a philosophical whim. It was pure strategy. Because what you decide to think before sleeping decides your rest, your mood, and your strength at dawn. It's not just about sleeping more hours. It's about sleeping with the right weight in your head. If you close your eyes with resentment, guilt, and anxiety, you will wake up weak. If you close them with calm, gratitude, and clarity, you wake up stronger. It's that simple and that hard. Don't expect discipline if you train your mind in chaos every night. The night is not the end of the day. It's the beginning of your next mental state. And if you don't learn to govern those last minutes, you will live repeating the same tiredness disguised as routine. This video does not intend to offer you nice words to sleep better, but to teach you to turn each night into a silent training field. Because whoever controls their last thoughts of the day begins to control their entire life. 1. Silence the world. True silence does not begin when you turn off the lights. It begins when you decide to turn off the noise within you. Many people believe that rest is a matter of closing your eyes, but if the mind is still on, it doesn't matter how comfortable the bed is. The body gets tired, but the soul is still at war. Every notification, every memory that appears when you stand still is a rope that keeps you tied to the chaos of the day. Therefore, the first step to mastering the night is brutally simple. Silence the world before the world silences you. Look around. We live surrounded by stimuli designed to steal our attention. The brightness of the phone, the latest messages, the news that promises urgency, social networks showing perfect lives that do not exist. Most do not realize that this constant exposure does not end when the sun goes down, because we take it to bed as if it were a prize, when in reality it is poison. The Stoics did not have phones, but they knew the danger of dispersion. They warned that a fragmented mind cannot find rest. And although times have changed, human nature has not. Conscious silence is not just being quiet, it is an act of self-control. It is the moment when you decide to close the day, regardless of whether the world out there continues to demand more from you. It's turning off the phone even if someone gets offended because you don't answer. It's stopping the internal conversation that accuses you of past mistakes. It's rejecting the idea that you have to solve everything before going to sleep. Silencing the world does not mean running away. It means setting boundaries, and boundaries are a language that the mind understands as protection. Imagine that your mind is like a lake. During the day, it receives stones, branches, raindrops. Everything falls and stirs the water. If at night you continue throwing stones, the water never calms down and reflects nothing. But if you stop throwing them, the surface calms down by itself, and then it can reflect the sky. Silencing the world is to stop throwing stones at the lake of your mind, so it can regain the clarity it naturally has. Start with simple but firm gestures. At least 30 minutes before sleeping, turn off screens. Don't lower the brightness. Don't just check something quickly. Turn them off. That small act is a message to your brain. The noise is over. Lower the lights, reduce the sounds, but above all, cut off the internal dialogue that insists on having the last word of the day. If the mind rebels, remind it that not every thought deserves to be heard immediately. Not all problems deserve attention at 11 o'clock at night. The Stoics taught that self-control begins with what you decide to let into your mind. If you take all the chaos that you didn't know how to let go of to bed, you can't expect peace. Silencing the world is, in essence, an act of respect for yourself. It's telling the noise, not today, not now. It's reclaiming the right to end the day your way, with dignity and authority over your own boundaries. Many underestimate the power of this step because it seems simple, but it's the hardest for a mind addicted to distraction. However, it is the starting point for everything else. You can't sow gratitude in a field that is still full of screams. You can't declare peace if you don't first stop the war. When you learn to silence the world before sleeping, you give yourself the gift of a mind that finally breathes, and that calm not only helps you rest, but strengthens your character to wake up with more control over yourself. 2. Cultivate gratitude. The human mind is like a field. It is always ready to receive seeds, but not all seeds produce fruits worth harvesting. If at the end of the day you sow complaints, comparisons, and resentments, don't be surprised when you wake up exhausted, irritable, and with the feeling that nothing is enough. But if at nightfall you choose to sow gratitude, you transform the inner terrain into a fertile space where rest becomes strength and the new day an opportunity. Gratitude is not a cheesy gesture or an empty phrase to feel better. It is a powerful tool that the Stoics practiced with discipline. Marcus Aurelius, after days full of responsibilities, dedicated his last reflections to thank the lessons, even those that came wrapped in difficulties. For them, giving thanks did not mean ignoring pain or romanticizing adversity. It was recognizing that even tough moments contained something to teach, and that every experience, good or bad, was part of their training as human beings. Most people believe they have nothing to be thankful for because they confuse gratitude with complacency. They think, how am I going to be thankful if my life is not perfect, if I still have problems to solve? Therein lies the mistake. Gratitude does not wait for everything to be okay. It is the decision to recognize the value of what you do have, even amidst what is lacking. It is understanding that every breath you take, every obstacle you survived, every person who crossed your path to teach you something are already enough reasons to close your eyes without resentment. By practicing it before sleep, you not only clear the emotional clutter accumulated during the day, but you guide your mind towards what strengthens instead of what drains. Gratitude is like a flashlight in the dark. It does not make problems disappear, but it allows you to see the paths more clearly. And that changes everything. A mind that gives thanks becomes more resilient, more stable, and less prone to sink into useless thoughts during the night. Start with something simple. Before going to bed, mention in a low voice or silently at least 3 things you are grateful for that day. Don't look for great feats. Look for what's real. It could be resisting an impulse, finishing a task, having a moment of laughter amidst chaos, or simply having made it alive to the end of a tough day. The power lies in recognizing what you already have and not obsessing over what is missing. If you want to deepen the effect, write down those 3 things. You don't need a fancy journal or perfect phrases. A simple notebook and straightforward words will do. Writing turns the abstract into concrete. And as your hand traces each thank you, your mind begins to focus on what adds rather than what subtracts. Over time, this small habit trains the brain to look for reasons to be thankful even during the day, and that transforms your perception of life as a whole. Gratitude also disarms resentment. You can't be grateful and resentful at the same time. They are mental states that do not coexist. Each night you choose to be thankful, you are choosing to let go of a bit more of that invisible weight you drag. The Stoics considered it an exercise in humility, recognizing that you do not control everything, but that there is always something that depends on you, even if it is your attitude towards what happens. Practicing gratitude before sleep is not a minor act. It is a silent training that shapes character. 3. Declare your peace. Most people go to bed hoping that the silence of the night will do the work they didn't do during the day. Calm the mind. But peace doesn't come by accident, nor does it appear just because the clock strikes midnight. Peace is declared, decided, and defended. Before closing your eyes, you have to give your own mind a clear order. Today, there will be no war. And this declaration is not poetry. It's a command signal that trains your inner self to respond calmly even when life insists on provoking you. The Stoics didn't believe that peace was a mystical state found outside oneself. For them, it was a daily conquest, the result of mastering thoughts and not allowing emotions to reign uncontrolled. That's why they dedicated a moment each night to examine their actions, recognize their faults, and forgive what they couldn't change. This habit prevented them from going to bed carrying unnecessary guilt, because they understood that true rest is only possible when no internal battle is being fought. Imagine your mind is like a room full of voices. Some accuse you for what you said, others remind you of old mistakes, others shout problems that you won't be able to solve until tomorrow. If you go to bed without declaring your peace, those voices will continue arguing while you sleep, as if your mind were a court open all night. Upon waking, you'll feel exhausted, not from physical work, but from the endless mental battles that never stopped. Declaring your peace is consciously closing the day. It's facing the mistakes made, accepting them without dramatizing and saying, "This stays here, I won't take it to the pillow." It's also acknowledging the problems that still have no solution and saying, "Tomorrow, I'll see what I can do," but they won't steal today's rest. This act of decision breaks the cycle of nighttime anxiety that exhausts people who believe that worrying in bed brings them closer to the solution. It's not like that. Nighttime worry doesn't fix anything, it only steals energy for the next day. A simple but powerful practice is to create a closing phrase, a short affirmation that becomes your personal command signal. It could be something as direct as, "Today, I let go of what I can't control," or "I'm not going to take my battles to the pillow." It's not about magic phrases or optimistic illusions. It's about words that work as mental anchors, reminders that you decide not to fight when there's nothing to gain. Repeating these words every night teaches the brain that there's a limit, a time to stop. Declared peace also implies forgiveness, not as an excuse but as a release. Forgiving at the end of the day doesn't mean justifying what was wrong, but refusing to allow the offense to continue occupying space in your mind. Marcus Aurelius used to write that anger against others only hurts the one who keeps it. When you turn this declaration of peace into a habit, your rest stops being a simple closing of the eyes and becomes a silent training of self-control. Little by little, the mind learns to stop its own noise when it receives the order, just like a soldier who recognizes the call of his commander. And every night that you manage to impose yourself on your chaotic thoughts, you strengthen an invisible muscle, that of emotional discipline. Whoever declares their peace before sleeping is not being weak or naive. They are showing uncommon courage in a world where everyone fights even in dreams. 4. Release the weight onto paper. There are thoughts that weigh more than physical fatigue. You don't realize it, but every worry, every regret, and every idea you don't voice aloud accumulates like stones within you. At the end of the day, many people go to bed with a cluttered mind, hoping that sleep will be strong enough to sweep away the mess. It doesn't work that way. What you don't let go of pursues you, and what you keep silent ends up speaking alone when you turn off the lights. That's why the Stoics had a silent and powerful weapon, the act of writing. We often underestimate the power of paper, as if pouring out thoughts was an insignificant pastime. But writing is an exercise in mental cleansing, almost a physical relief for the soul. When thoughts get trapped in the head, they grow, distort, repeat like an unbearable echo. Paper stops them, gives them shape, and leaves them locked in a place where they can no longer continue poisoning your mind while you sleep. Seneca advised examining the day before going to sleep, asking oneself what was done well, what could be improved, what was not worth carrying into the next day. This habit, more than a philosophical ritual, was a practical act of self-governance. By writing down what you carry within, you stop fighting with thoughts and start treating them as objects that you can move and organize. What was once a chaotic swarm becomes ordered, visible words that no longer scare you. It's not about drafting a perfect diary or embellishing sentences. It's about emptying the mind. You can start by writing 3 things: what you are grateful for, what weighs on you, and what you decide to let go of for today. This simple gesture opens space for rest. It's like leaving the backpack on the ground before continuing the journey. The burden still exists, but you're no longer carrying it. There's something almost therapeutic about seeing thoughts turned into ink. What seemed immense is reduced to a few lines. What you thought was impossible to resolve loses strength when you confront it with words. The paper doesn't judge, interrupt, or argue. It simply receives and stores. And by leaving your concerns there, you free the mind from spinning on the same thing while you try to sleep. Imagine the warrior who cleans his sword after the battle. He doesn't do it out of whim, but because he knows he can't go to rest with the blade covered in blood and dust. So is the mind after a hard day. It needs a cleaning so as not to carry the weight of the day into the night. Writing is that cleaning. It's the simplest and most effective way to tell the brain that the day is over and that it doesn't have to keep fighting in the dark. A common notebook and a pen are enough. If you don't know where to start, write short sentences. Today I let go. Today I'm grateful for. Today I don't blame myself for. These small statements are keys that close unnecessary doors and free up space for calm. The Stoics understood that not every problem can be solved in the moment, but it can be put in its place so as not to invade what remains of peace. Each written word is a decision. This idea will not come with me to the pillow. This action, repeated night after night, not only organizes the mind, it also strengthens character because you train the habit of facing what you feel instead of running away from it. When you make paper your nightly confidant, you're not seeking beauty or perfection, you're seeking lightness. And that lightness is what allows your mind at last to rest. You'll sleep better not because everything is resolved, but because you've released the weight of carrying it in silence. 5. Breathe and release. Breathing is the invisible bridge between the body and the mind, but few notice it because they take it for granted. During the day, we breathe automatically, superficially, as if it barely suffices to survive. However, when night falls, that agitated breathing made of haste and stress continues to guide a body that tries to sleep while still behaving as if it were in the middle of a battle. That's why rest doesn't come. The body says fight while you say rest. Conscious breathing is the switch that reconciles the two and gives you back control. The Stoics, although they did not speak in modern terms of diaphragmatic breathing or mindfulness, knew that calm begins in the mastery of the body. Epictetus taught that, faced with what you cannot control, the first act of government is with yourself. And there is no more basic act of self-government than to breathe deliberately. Each deep inhalation is a reminder that you are alive and that you decide what comes in and what goes out of you. Each exhalation is a silent order to release the accumulated emotional weight. Most people take the tension of the day to bed as if it were part of their identity. Stiff shoulders, clenched jaw, short breath. Thus, even though the fatigue is real, the body believes it is still on alert. But the body cannot lie. No matter how many times you repeat to your mind that it must relax, if the body does not receive the correct signal, there will be no rest. This is where conscious breathing becomes a Stoic tool, a simple, direct, and powerful way to govern chaos. Start with something as simple as sitting on the edge of the bed, closing your eyes, and dropping your shoulders. Inhale, counting to 4, hold the air for a moment, and then exhale slowly to 6. That small lengthening of the exhalation tricks the body into abandoning the alert and activating the calm system. Repeat the cycle at least 5 times, but without forcing anything. The goal is not to run out of air, but to remind the body that it is no longer in danger. Each exhalation is more than just air coming out. It is a way to expel the emotional residue you accumulated, the awkward conversation you had in the morning, the mistake you kept repeating mentally, the fear you carry about the future. When you exhale, imagine all that going out with the air. It's not cheap fantasy. Your mind obeys the images you give it, and visualization enhances the calming effect. The Stoics saw control of breathing as an act of discipline, not mysticism. It was not a spiritual ritual to impress anyone, but a tool to maintain composure when emotions threaten to overflow. Many people seek peace in profound words or complex solutions, but forget that peace begins with the rhythm of your breath. That rhythm dictates to the mind whether it should fight or surrender to rest. The slower and deeper it is, the faster the body releases the alert signals. In a few nights, you will notice that sleep comes with less resistance, not because life has become easier, but because you learn to guide the only mechanism that never lies. Before going to sleep, dedicate a few minutes to this exercise. Do it in silence, without music, without distractions, letting the only sound be the air entering and leaving your lungs. This simple act, repeated night after night, becomes an anchor. Every time you start the breathing cycle, your body will know that it is time to release the weight of the day. 6. Take care of your last thought. The moment before closing your eyes is the most fertile ground of your mind. What you choose to think in that last minute before sleep does not stay there. It sinks into your subconscious and works silently throughout the night. Many ignore it and go to bed feeding painful memories, worries about the future, or repeating arguments they can no longer change. By doing so, they are sowing seeds that upon awakening germinate as anxiety, apathy, or demotivation. Whoever does not take care of their last thought becomes a hostage of their own subconscious. The Stoics knew that final thoughts shape character because when the mind is left without distractions, it clearly shows what governs it. Marcus Aurelius used to reflect at the end of the day on the actions that depended on him and discarded what was beyond his control. This habit was not casual. He understood that the last internal dialogue should strengthen him, not weaken him. Sleeping with clear and disciplined thoughts was as important as physical rest. Think of the subconscious as a night guard who receives the last orders before vigilance. If you give it fear, it amplifies it. If you give it calm, it protects it. If you give it clarity, it multiplies it. Most people let this guard work with emotional garbage because they do not take the time to choose what thoughts to sow before sleep. They believe they have no control over what appears in the mind, but that is false. You can't always control the first thought that comes, but you can control the last one you decide to keep. Taking care of the last thought is not about forcing yourself to think about pretty things or denying reality, but about consciously choosing the end of the day. After everything experienced, the mistakes made, and the achievements reached, you can end the day with gratitude, acceptance, or a firm declaration to yourself. For example, tomorrow I will be more patient. Today I gave my best effort and I accept it. I will not carry what I cannot change. These phrases are simple, but when repeated with intention, they order the internal disorder and prepare the subconscious to work in your favor while you sleep. For it to work, choose a moment of quiet before closing your eyes. Turn off the screens, avoid conversations that alter your mood, and dedicate yourself to silence. Then let the thoughts that are not worth it go. You can imagine them as leaves floating in a river that drift away with the current. Once you have cleared the noise, formulate your last thought as if it were a clear order, not a vague wish. The mind obeys instructions better than pleas. This habit also requires courage, because sometimes the last thought you need is not comfortable. It may be the recognition of a mistake that you need to correct tomorrow, or the reminder that you need to let go of something you have been holding on to out of pride. Taking care of the last thought is not about seeking comfort. It's about seeking truth and direction. This honesty strengthens the mind and prevents unresolved emotions from stealing your nighttime calm. Modern research confirms what the Stoics intuited. The emotional state with which you close the day influences the quality of sleep and the level of energy upon awakening. A disciplined last thought can reduce stress, calm the nervous system, and improve memory, because the brain processes at night what you give it during the day. Whoever takes care of their last thought trains a silent power, not to allow bitter memories to be the owners of their rest. 7. Make the night your sanctuary. Most people treat the night as a mere parenthesis between one day and another. They go to bed exhausted, with the light of the phone still illuminating their face, surrounded by visual and mental noise, as if rest were just another obligation on their endless list. But the night is not a procedure. It is the sanctuary that you decide to build or destroy each day. And those who do not learn to take care of this sacred space end up living in a cycle of chronic fatigue without understanding why they never regain strength. A sanctuary is not a costly physical place, nor does it require complicated rituals. It is an environment designed to remind your mind and body that they are entering a territory of calm. The Stoics understood that the environment shapes character. If the place where you sleep is invaded by disorder, lit screens, and memories that upset you, the subconscious never understands that it's time to stop. Therefore, turning the night into a sanctuary is much more than making the bed. It is an act of respect towards yourself. Start with the space around you. Remove what is unnecessary. You don't need the room to look like a showcase full of distractions. Eliminate excess objects and keep close only what invites rest. A dim light, a notebook, perhaps a soft scent. Your environment is the first language the mind understands. If you speak to it with chaos, it responds with tension. The sanctuary is also built with habits. Set a clear boundary between the noise of the day and the silence of the night. It can be something as simple as changing into sleepwear, dimming the lights, dedicating 2 minutes to stretching, or preparing a hot drink. It's not the gesture itself, it's the message. Here the battle ends and recovery begins. This small ritual acts as a psychological signal that helps the brain disconnect. Beyond the physical environment, the true sanctuary is mental. It is the inner space that you protect from thoughts that do not deserve to enter. Here, boundaries are equally important. Do not take pending conversations to the pillow. Do not give space to resentment. Do not allow worries about tomorrow to occupy the only moment of peace you have today. Imagine the night as an inner temple where only gratitude, calm, and clarity are allowed access. Creating a nighttime sanctuary is a reminder that rest is not a luxury. It is part of your discipline. Sleeping in peace is a training that strengthens character as much as any challenge of the day. By treating the night as a sacred place, you transform an everyday act into a practice of Stoic self-care. And each time you repeat it, you are educating your mind to respect the boundaries that guarantee your well-being. Whoever turns the night into their sanctuary wakes up differently, with a lighter mind, a less exhausted body, and a spirit ready to face the external chaos. It's not about escaping the world, but about building a refuge that allows you to return to daily combat with renewed strength. That is the true power of caring for your nighttime space, reclaiming the dignity of your rest and turning it into a source of inner strength. 8. Train your rest. Sleeping is not just closing your eyes and waiting for fatigue to do the work. It's a training, and most people ignore it until fatigue builds up and the body starts to protest. We believe that rest is something that happens by itself, but in reality, it is an art that is perfected, just like any discipline that requires consistency and will. Whoever learns to train their rest discovers that every night can be an opportunity to strengthen rather than wear out. The Stoics valued rest not as indulgence, but as a strategic tool. They knew that a tired mind makes worse decisions, that a weak body gives in more easily to emotions, and that discipline does not survive without energy. Therefore, resting was part of their practice of self-government. They prepared the body and mind to perform better the next day. This perspective changes everything. You don't sleep to escape the day, you sleep to master the one that comes. Training rest means creating routines that teach your body when to let go of alerts and when to regain strength. Start by respecting schedules. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. It's not a whim. It's a way to re-educate the internal clock that dictates when to release calming hormones and when to activate energy. An irregular schedule tricks the body, and the confused body never fully rests. Another essential aspect is prior preparation. Just as an athlete does not compete without warming up, the mind should not jump from daytime chaos to deep rest without transition. Dedicate the last 30 minutes before sleep to activities that reduce the pace. Quiet reading, conscious breathing, or a brief stretch. This tells the brain that it is no longer in fight mode and helps it enter the state of relaxation necessary for restorative sleep. Training rest also involves understanding that not everything that relaxes instantly is good for sleep. Spending hours on the phone or in front of a screen may seem harmless, but the light and constant flow of information disrupt the brain's natural rhythms. Moving away from screens is like removing the silent enemy that interferes with your ability to disconnect. Rest is a muscle that strengthens with the repetition of the correct habit. Every time you stick to the schedule, respect the pre-sleep ritual, and take care of the environment where you sleep, you are training your body and mind to enter recovery mode with less resistance. And the better trained that invisible muscle is, the more prepared you are to face the wear and tear of the next day. Whoever learns to train their rest wakes up with an advantage. Not only do they regain physical energy, but they also gain mental clarity, emotional stability, and greater self-control. Sleeping ceases to be a passive act and becomes a strategic resource for building inner strength. True discipline is not only measured in what you do while you are awake, but also in how you prepare for the silence that shapes the strength with which you face the dawn. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment, "I am Stoic," as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.